Namaste to everyone. Today in this discussion we are going to analyze the rise and fall of Elon Musk, who is one of the world's most intellectual, intelligence and creator of the new knowledge. We are going to compare his downfall with the mythological stories that is from both from India and Western countries. In an era, humanity produces exceptionally individuals who pursue the boundaries of science, imagination, and ambition. Elon Musk, one of the most influential figures of our time, captured global attention through revolutionary innovation in electrical vehicles, reusable rockets, and artificial intelligence. His ventures such as Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and others promised not only technological advancements but also solutions to the world's existential challenges. He became a symbol of bold vision, daring execution, and unrelenting drive. However, just a history and mythology teach us brilliance without balance and ambition without Dharma, righteous duty, can lead to moral and functional collapse. Today, we are witnessing a shift in Musk's narrative. His recent controversies, political entanglements, social media outbursts, and ethical missteps raise critical questions about leadership, ego, and loss of higher purpose. This is not a story of mere failure. It is a living cautionary tale that mirrors the journeys of Ravana, Karna, Icarnus, and Feist. All were gifted, all were admired, and fell when they strayed from the righteous path. In the present discussion, we are going to explore Musk's trajectory through the lens of Bhagavad Gita, Indian epics, and Western mythology. We will analyze how deviation from Dharma, unchecked ego, lack of ethical grounding, and ignoring wise counsel led not only to Musk's current crisis but also reflects a universal pattern that affects leaders of all of us. More importantly, we will discuss how realignment is possible, how leaders can return to their original vision, and what Musk and others like him must do rise again with humility, balance, and purpose. Now, briefly, let us look into the Elon Musk as a visionary rise from Tesla and SpaceX. Elon Musk's early career mirrored the path of true visionary. His journey began with Zip2, an online city guide software, followed by PayPal, which he co-founded and later sold for millions. With the funds from these ventures, he turned his focus towards Tesla and SpaceX, two companies that aimed to transform the world. At Tesla, Musk committed to producing electrical vehicles that would reduce the world's dependence on fossil fuel. The Tesla Roadster and later more affordable models like the Model S were groundbreaking, embodying Musk's desire to innovate for a greater cause. Similarly, with SpaceX, Musk aimed to make space travel more affordable and to pave the way for human colonization on Mars, continuing his vision of ensuring humanity long-term survival beyond Earth. Musk's ambition were not only driven by mere financial gain but a visionary ideal, the improvement of human life and planet's future. Many years his bold moves and his capacity to disrupt industries earned him admiration and respect as a leader of unparalleled foresight. Now let us briefly look into the aspect of the fall of Elon Musk, a shift from purpose to power. Despite his accomplishment, Musk's deviation from his original purpose has become increasingly apart. One of the key turning points came from he began to involve himself more in political matters, notably aligning himself with Donald Trump and becoming a vocal about his political views. While it is not inherently wrong for business leaders to engage in politics, Musk's involvement with controversial figures and his public statements have raised questions about his alignment with the values initially drove him. Musk's public controversies, including his support for certain policies that contradict his own environmental values and his shifting positions on key issues, show how his actions no longer align with his early missions. Tesla's core purpose, sustainable energy, was blunted by Musk's corporate alliances, creating sense of inconsistency in his leadership. The very ideals that once made him hero in the business world seems to be lost their significance as his personal and political ambitions overtook the broader mission. In both Eastern and Western cultures, we find numerous examples of great figures whose rise to power and prominence was followed by tragic fall. These stories offer valuable lessons about the consequences of deviating from one's righteous path, a theme that is deeply embedded in ancient Indian texts like Bhagavad Gita. The Gita's teachings about dharma, ego, and purpose resonate with stories from both Eastern and Western cultures, showing that no matter how great one's talents or accomplishments may be, deviating from one's moral and ethical duties leads to ruin. So, this is the message from Bhagavad Gita on dharma and egos and purpose. Now, let us know from Bhagavad Gita what it says about the fall of the great. In the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of dharma, that is the righteous duty, is central to the teachings of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Krishna emphasizes that one must perform that duty without attachment to the fruits of actions. This aligned with the idea that personal ambitions and ego should not guide decisions, but rather a steadfast commitment to moral and ethical principles. For instance, the Bhagavad Gita highlights the importance of focusing on one's, that is, swadharma. It means personal duty without being swayed by external desires or distractions. Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action, teaches that one must focus on the process of work without attachment to success or failure. When one veers from this principle, their actions begin to be influenced by self-interest and pride, leading to their downfall. We have many mythological stories from ancient cultures which teaches and also gives warnings about the performance of dharma and pride, destruction and desired control. One of the example I have chosen is King Nausha from Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, Nausha was a righteous king elevated to the position of Indra, that is the king of heaven, due to his merit. But intoxicated by power and status, he tried to make the sage Agastya carrying his palanquin and insulted other sages. As a result, he was crushed and fell from the heavens to become a serpent on earth. The moral what we will be learning from this story is, like Nausha, a leader who becomes blinded by ego and strays from his righteous path, that is dharma, is destined for a fall. Musk's repeated online outbursts, mockery of others, and arrogance mirrors this classical example of hubris. One of the sloka from Bhagavad Gita speaks the ego and divine retribution. The sloka reads like this: Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha samsritaha mamatma paradeheshu prudvishno vyusayaha ka tanaham dishyataha kuran sasareshu naradhaman shimapya jasrama subhana surishya yonishu. In translation, this sloka mentions like this: resorting to egoism, power, arrogance, lust and anger. These malicious persons hate me in their own and in others' bodies. These crucial haters, the vilest among men in the world, I hurl perpetually into demonic homes. Now let us interpret this sloka's meaning with the Elon Musk's controversy. The Gita warns us that leaders intoxicated with ego, who mock Dharma and truth, will face karmic downfall. As Musk increasingly surrounds himself with the power-centric, rhetoric, and associate with polarizing political figures, he risks becomes the kind of Naradharma that is the lowest of men. See, what Bhagavad Gita tells is when you mock Dharma and truth, you will be falling down. In this way, the Krishna causes about those who forget the higher purpose of life and act only personal dominance. Another example I have chosen is King Ravana from Ramayana, the downfall of a great leader. In the Ramayana, King Ravana is depicted as a highly capable ruler, a devoted scholar, and a great devotee of Lord Shiva. However, his downfall came when his ego and desire overtook his righteous duty. Ravana's desire to possess Sita, the wife of Lord Sri Rama, led him to violate the moral and ethical principles he once upheld. His adharma, that unrighteousness actions, caused the collapse of his kingdom and his ultimate demise. The story reflects the Bhagavad Gita's warning about the dangers of attachment to personal desires and the importance of dharma in leadership. When a leader's actions are driven by ego and personal gratification rather than greater good, they face ruin. One of the best examples which I have chosen from Mahabharata is Karna's role, loyalty to adharma. Similarly, in the Mahabharata, Karna was a warrior of immense skill and bravery, yet his downfall occurred because he chose loyalty to Duryodhana, who represented adharma over the righteous path. Karna's refusal to follow his true dharma, despite being aware of his origins and true purpose, led to his tragic end. Karna's story highlights the danger of deviation from one's true nature or purpose. In the modern business world, when leaders lost sight of their core values and ethical commitments in favor of loyalty to unethical practices, they too are doomed to failure. With these few examples from Indian mythology, I wanted to illustrate you about the Western mythological stories, how it will help to understand the moral, ethics, and dharma principles to follow in the business sectors. The lessons from Ramayana, Mahabharata find parallel in Western mythology and history, showing that the fall after rise in a universal theme applicable across cultures. One of the important mythological story which I have chosen from Greek mythology is Icarus. Icarus was the son of Daedalus, the master craftsman who built the labyrinth of King Minos. When they attempted to escape from Crete, Daedalus fashioned wings from feathers and wax for them. He warned Icarus not to fly too close to the sun or too low near to the sea. But exhilarated by flight, Icarus ignored the guidance and soared too high. The sun melted the wax and he plunged into the sea and drowned. The lesson we will be learning from this story is Icarus symbolizes the peril of hubris, excessive pride and disobedience in wise counsel. In the modern world, leaders who soar on success may become deep to ground advice, believe themselves infallible. Elon Musk, too, once known for his visionary moderation, increasingly exhibits impulsive decision, and overconfidence that some see as a symbolic of an Icarus complex. The fall that follows such overreach is not always immediate, but is inevitable when ethical restraints and humility are ignored. In the context of Dharma, Icarus failed to perform his rightful duty of obeying boundaries. His fall was not due to flying, but due to forgetting his limits. A key Gita lessons on discipline, humility in power. Another important mythological story which I have chosen as an example is Oedipus, that is Sophoclean tragedy. Oedipus, the protagonist of Sophocles' famous tragedy Oedipus Rex, was a noble and intelligent king who sought to rid Thebes of plague. But in doing so, he unknowingly uncovered his own sins, that he has killed his father and married his mother, fulfilling a prophecy he desperately tried to avoid. Despite his brilliance, Oedipus' arrogance, denial, and obsession with controlled fate blinded him from self-awareness and moral introspection. The lesson we will be learning from this Oedipus story is Oedipus is a timeless symbol of intellectual arrogance. Leaders who become obsessed with outcomes, be in technology supremacy, wealth, and societal control, may begin to operate under the illusion that they are beyond moral and cosmic laws. Oedipus, like many modern figures, failed to understand that wisdom with humility becomes dangerous. His downfall was not due to fate alone, but his refusal to see the truth within himself. Elon Musk, admired for his intelligence and vision, must beware of his tragic arc, where denial of one's mistakes and an unwillingness to listen to deeper ethical insights can lead to spiritual and social collapse. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that inner clarity and self-enquiry, that is Atma Vichara, are crucial to true leadership. Another important mythological explanation which I wanted to bring to you is Julius Caesar from the Roman history. Julius Caesar was a brilliant Roman general and statesman whose ambition reshaped Rome. In Shakespeare's dramatization, he is portrayed as a leader who began to assume divine stature, ignoring warnings and alienating those closest to him. His assassination was the result of political paranoia, ambition, and perception that he had overreached his power. The lesson which we will be learning from Julius Caesar is Caesar's fall is a case study in uncontrolled ambition. Even though his intentions may have been to improve Rome, his rise bred fear, envy, and ultimately betrayal. He exemplifies the danger when fame and self-image eclipse duty and discernment. Caesar failed to practice self-restraint, the very quality of Lord Krishna incites upon the Gita when warnings against the lure of ego and desire. In modern time, successful individuals can become so consumed by public adulation that they began to ignore red flags and honest feedbacks. Musk's involvement in politics, controversial statements, and expanding control in varied dominance could parallel Caesar's overreach. The lesson is that brilliance must be tempered by ethical responsibility, humility, and respect for collective welfare, or risk collapse through isolation and rebellion. Another important legendary story which I have chosen is Faust from German legend. Faust is a character from German legend who makes a pact with the devil, trading his soul for unlimited knowledge and worldly pleasures. In Goethe's version, Faust is not evil, but is driven by an unstable hunger of experience, power, and understanding. His journey reflects the eternal human struggle between aspiration and morality, and the cost of sacrificing spiritual values for material or intellectual gain. The lesson which we will be learning from this mythological story is Faust is the archetype of the overreaching visionary. He wanted to more than what was rightfully his knowledge, success, and influence. And in his pursuit, he ignored the ethical compass of the soul. In today's context, Faust can be seen figures who push technological boundaries without sufficient ethical foresight, especially in areas like AI, genetic engineering, or surveillance. In interpretation of this story with Elon Musk involved deeply in AI, brain-computer interface, that is Neuralink, and a geopolitical influence, the faster warning is urgent. The Gita teachings surrender to higher wisdom, not merely the fulfillment of desires. Musk's path forward must involve not just innovation but moral reflections, a return to foundational intentions and service to humanity, lest he fall into the same trap Faust did, achieving everything yet losing the soul in the process. Another interesting story which I have chosen from Greek mythology is Prometheus. Prometheus, a titan of Greek mythology, defied Zeus by stealing fire from the gods and giving it to the humans. Fire symbolizes knowledge, technology, and civilization. As a punishment, Zeus had him bound to a rock where an eagle would eat his liver every day, only for it to regenerate and be eaten again eternally. The lesson which we will be learning from this mythological story of Prometheus is a symbol of rebellion against the divine order. While his act was compassionate, giving humanity the spark of progress, he did so by passing divine law. In modern times, Prometheus is often romanticized as the archetype of the scientist or innovator who challenges boundaries. But the myth also warns of the cost of overstepping natural or ethical limits even for noble reasons. The story of Prometheus tells us, like leaders, Musk, who aim to give fire to humanity through powerful technologies, that is AI, Mars colonization, neural implants, Prometheus' story urges caution. Innovation without spiritual insight or ethical anchoring can lead to unintended consequences. In the Gita, Krishna advises Arjuna to act in accordance with the cosmic order and righteousness, that is Dharma. Prometheus' suffering serves as a warning. Even the most enlightened missions, if pursued without alignment to higher laws, can bring about painful repercussions. We had a good number of lessons from these mythological stories. Now let us know about the Elon Musk story. Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, is another example of a visionary who has risen extraordinary heights. His contributions to sustainable energy and space exploration have been groundbreaking, and his work embodies the very principles of innovation and purpose-driven leadership. However, Musk's recent political affiliation, particularly with figures like Donald Trump, have sparked debates about whether he is deviating from his original purpose. Musk's initial mission to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy and make humanity a multi-planetary species was grounded in a vision of societal betterment. But recent actions, such as his public support for controversial political figures, have raised concern about his commitment to the original ideals. His shift towards political engagements and his alignment with figures who may not align with his core values suggest as a potential deviation from Dharma. This mirrors the stories of Ravana and Karna, who, despite their greatness, strayed from their righteous path and suffer the consequences. The universal lesson we will be learning from these mythological stories, the rise and fall of figures like Elon Musk, Ravana, Karna, and Icarus underline the crucial importance of staying grounded one's values and ethics. For business executives, scholars, and entrepreneurs, the primary lesson is clear. One must remain true to their mission, no matter how much external influence or ambition tempts them to stray from their purpose. In the words of Lord Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, it says, "Your right is to perform your duty only, but never to its fruits. Let not the fruits of action be your motive, nor let your attachments be to inaction." The principle is a timeless reminder for leaders. Focus on the process, the mission, and the responsibility without getting distracted by external factors such as fame, power, or political affiliation. Before concluding, let us look into the fall of the brilliance and how it causes for all of us. Throughout history and mythology, both Eastern and Western, we see the recurring pattern. Those blessed with extraordinary talent, intellect, and power rise to greatness, but often fall when Dharma, that is, righteous path, is abandoned. From Ravana in the Ramayana to Karna in Mahabharata, from Icarus to fast, each figure reminds us the brilliance without balance and ambition without ethics lead to ruin. Elon Musk is arguably one of the brightest mindsets of the 21st century, a pioneer of electrical vehicles, reusable rockets, and AI intelligence. His vision once seemed rooted in the betterment of humanity. However, recent behaviors suggest deviation from that original dharmic path. Reports of erratic leadership, disregarded for employee well-being, social media impulsiveness, and controversial alliances reflect a shift from purpose to pride, from vision to ego. This is not just about Musk as an individual, it is about the universal human tendency to lose one's moral compass when surrounded by success and adulation. Musk's journey mirrors that of Ravana, a brilliant ruler undone by his ambition to dominate, or Fast, who sold his soul for limitless power, or Icarus, who flew to choose to the sun, intoxicated by his own wings. In this context, I wanted to refer the message Lord Sri Krishna was given to Arjuna, that is, he who acts without attachment, performing his duty, is the true renunciate. True leadership demands humility, inner reflection, and service to the greater good. When these are lost, when the noblest innovations becomes tools of suffering. In summarizing, let us know what you have learned from this discussion. This discussion from both the ancient text and mythological stories is clear. When individuals or leaders deviate from their core purpose, whether due to ego, ambition, or external pressure, they risk losing their way and ultimately face failure. Musk's recent shift in focus represents a warning to today's business leaders. Musk's fall, if not checked, will not just personal. It may affect global technology, labor ethics, and public trust. His journey must now become a lesson in course of correction to realign with one's original purpose, listen to wise counsel, nurture empathy, and uphold Dharma in every decision. If he can do this, he can still rise, not just a successful entrepreneur, but as a yogi leader, one who leads with inner discipline, detached wisdom, and ethical strength. This is a message not just for Musk, but every student, business person, and policy makers. Let your rise be rooted in Dharma, or your fall will be inevitable. Thank you very much for your kind hearing. I request you to forward this link to your friends, scholars, students, and group people to know more about Bhagavad Gita's importance and how it teaches on moral, ethic, and dharma, not only on business but also on day-to-day life of every individual. Thank you very much. Hope we will meet you in another discussion. If you like, please subscribe this channel. Thank you very much.